Alright, I'm back with another video. This is a review of the Premium DNA Battletoads Zitz figure. I picked this one up locally this weekend, just on a hunt kind of around some local spots, and I saw this on the shelf and had to grab it. Box is a little beat up, but no worse for wear. Let's dig into it. Alright, we have this outer paper sleeve on there with this Battletoads logo, the logo on the side, more work on the back. And then on this side, we have some artwork of Zitz from the game. Let's get it out of this paper sleeve. Take a look at it here. There we got Zitz through the window. We have a cross sale there with some of the other figures. The only other one I have at the moment is a General Slaughter. That was my first one into this. We'll take a look at him compared to Zitz here for scale coming up. But looks good. I love this packaging. Looks nice. A little bit of the back art shows you some of the big accessories he comes with. Let's pop her open. Okay, here we have them. Let's open this top flap here. Get this plastic shell out. There's the packaging, no artwork on the back panel or anything like that. So we have Zitz here. Looks like there's two trays. So one tray is going to have this large kind of like bulldozer blade accessory. And then this other tray is going to have Zitz and the rest of the accessories here. So look at this bulldozer blade here. I think I got to say this probably is the largest accessory I can think of that comes to mind that's come with a figure of lot. So, alright, so we got some like little lined up pegs there. Looks like that would press in. Maybe need a little bit of heat to set that. But I think that these plug into like where his hands would, like on the wrists. I'm sure we'll see that soon. That is large. I mean, compared to the figure himself, that's taller than he is, or about the same height. That is really cool. Pretty nice paint detailing too. Nothing too crazy, but enough to really make it stand out and look realistic. Some weathering all the way around that. It's really neat. Have kind of this like a spiral drill bit. I think his hand just slips right inside there. And the big spiked fist. Jumbo-sized, super cartoonish looking. About half as big as he is. Really cool. I remember like this game, I liked it. It was so over the top. I'm glad that they, Premium DNA kept some of the over-the-topness to these accessories. Looks like we have another faceplate here. Or head sculpt. Guess it'd be a whole head. Kind of a cool little smile. Grinning face there. And we got Zitz himself. Overall, the paint looks pretty nice. Pretty clean. I don't really see anything to complain about. Take a look at articulation in a second. So we got the two fist hands on there. We have some slightly open hands here. And some larger open hands here. Let's take a quick look at the articulation. Let's start with the head. So facing us, got all the way up, all the way down. So from the side, all the way down, all the way up. I'm curious if that'll be good enough to see General Slaughter. We'll see in a moment here. That's a pretty big figure, so I'm wondering if he's able to look up enough to see him. We got side to side. That's about as far as we can go before the sculpt touches. That's pretty good. So in the shoulders, got a T-pose there. It's about as high up as those shoulders want to go. Looks like we have a bicep swivel. We have double jointed elbows that'll give us a little bit better than a 90. We have articulated wrists there. So let's get a little better sight. Rock down, rock up. And then, of course, they spin all the way around. Get some nice heroic poses going. We have a good cut here at the diaphragm. We can get side to side about that much. Not a ton side to side. Actually, I'm a little surprised looking at the way it's cut. I'm surprised that's about as much as we can get rocking out of it. And forward and backward, not, well, there's a good amount, decent amount. You kind of have to shift it, like pop it forward and then rock it down. But yeah, enough to get a good upward looking pose. This belt on there, it's a neat detail. That's kind of just loose on there. The hips, looks like the hips have kind of that drop hip to them, like kind of a where the hip will actually drop down, up and down. We get full splits. There's a little detail on the way that's constructed. So we kind of have not really a thigh cut, but it does swivel there a pretty good amount. And you can see his toes go pretty inward turned to pretty outward turned. We have double jointed knees, give us a pretty good bend there. Actually pretty surprised looking at that sculpt, the way that's cut from the sides and from the front. You wouldn't really tell that you could get that much out of the knee. That's pretty cool. And the foot, we have some good articulation down, some good articulation up, and then, not too surprised, some really good rock back and forth. We can get him to kick, bring the hip out a little bit, or the leg out a little bit. Get him to kick pretty far up. Back, not so much. That kind of a butt is in that way. But yeah, pretty good kick all the way up. Articulation-wise, I think this guy's a winner so far. It looks pretty good. All right, let's get him posed up with some of these accessories and take a look at him. All right, here's a first look at him 360 around without my grubby mitts in the way. Get a good look at him in the paint work and the sculpt work. I think he looks phenomenal. I think it's a really good translation, honestly, of like an old video game character. When you look at this artwork here, what you have to go off of, I mean, it's awesome artwork. I'm not saying that. It's just sometimes things get lost in translation. But seeing him in hand, I immediately know who he is, right? No question there. I think they did a really, really fantastic job with the sculpt and the paint apps. I think he looks awesome. And a quick swap here, change that head sculpt and change his hands to one of each of the two open hand variations we have there. Really easy swappability. You know, some figures are, sometimes you got to get heat, sometimes you're still a little nervous when you're popping things off, but this guy is made really well. Everything comes off cleanly. It's not too loose, but don't require a lot of force. I didn't have to use any heat, and nothing felt suspect pulling things apart. It's always nice when you buy a figure, you know, it's not cheap. You know, it's good when it feels like it just goes together and it comes apart the way it should without feeling like you're going to break it. So quality-wise, he feels good so far. All right, here's that oversized fist with the spikes on it. If you can't tell, I'm going to try to do these poses. See if I can kind of replicate these poses from the video game. And that fist is a little heavy. Took just a second to get him balanced and his legs positioned. His hips are just barely a little too loose for like any position. As you can see, I have him standing. He's spinning. He's not falling or anything like that. But a couple of the positions I had his legs in, it's a little hard for him to hold up the weight of that fist. His arm joints, those are all fine. His waist and his the diaphragm cut, that's all good. It's just that hip was a little bit loose, so I had to have the legs a little bit more under him. But I think it looks good. You can get that pose and replicate it. This fisted hand here, it just pops over his gauntlet. Like his hand here that you see, you just pop the fist off, and this sleeves over the black gauntlet that exists on there when you pop the hand off. All right, we got that drill bit attachment on. As you can see, I had to back things up a little bit. It's pretty big, but I feel like we got this pose pretty good. I mean, as he comes around here, you tell me what you think. He's even able to kind of balance up on his toes like that. All right, and the last accessory here is this big bulldozer blade accessory. I think we were able to match that pose pretty good. I take back what I said about the heat. I needed a little bit of heat to get these plugged into his forearms and to get this part plugged into the actual blade where that connects. Those are a little tight, and this is a very like rigid plastic. It's not like kind of a soft, pliable plastic. So those pegs, I was actually a little bit nervous about plugging into these gauntlets without breaking off the pegs on here the way I had to put them in. But with a little bit of heat, I kind of got resolved. But maybe not an accessory I would want to plug in and plug out a lot. But I think I'm going to pick which one I display him with, like most of my stuff anyway, and just set him up and display him. That's probably how he'll sit forever. Just for playability or, you know, the look of it with General Slaughter, probably have that big fist or the drill bit. I think I'm going to go with that big fist, but we'll look at him here with General Slaughter and see if I change my mind. All right, I just dropped in General Slaughter here. I'm going to reframe this in a second, but without messing up and giving a forced perspective, I wanted to kind of give an idea of how big he is compared to General Slaughter. So I thought while I had the camera low, it'd be a good time to look at it. But there he is, coming up to his knee. It's a little ridiculous. I mean, he could just run right between his legs. Pretty crazy. All right, let's take a look. Okay, that's a little better. I'm definitely maxing out the room, though, that I have set up here that I can use to actually shoot anything. I had to make some adjustments before when I did a video on General Slaughter, which if you haven't seen that, please check it out. I really, really like this General Slaughter figure. I'll leave it at that. Right now, we'll just look at him in a scale comparison. I think that's nuts looking at him. I have some lines that have a lot of variance in scale across the line. I don't think I have anything... let me rephrase that. I'm positive I don't have anything that has this much variation in scale. This is really insane to see. I'm so glad they went this nuts with the variation here in size. Really kind of comical looking at it on the shelf together, looking at them like this together. It's been pretty funny. I've been having General Slaughter displayed just holding various figures like, say, Frieza or random Mythic Legion skeletons or whatever, dangling them up in the air, you know, like some big ogre. And it kind of cracks me up every time I see it. I'm really glad I got Zitz to pose with him now, though. Okay, I gotta interrupt the video here. Setting up the next shot, using some heat to carefully heat everything up and pop this back off. And what I was worried could happen, did happen. So, let's get it to focus here. This peg here, on that side, came clean off. And we can see it here, stuck in his gauntlet. So, that really sucks. Gonna get that out of there with maybe some heat, some pliers. Let's see what I can do to get that out of there. And maybe get a little pin drill, put some wire in there and fix it. A little bummed out about that. I didn't think I was going to display with this piece, but that still sucks. Alright, that's my experience. I'm not totally inexperienced, guys. I got a heat gun. I kind of think I know what I'm doing, so I'm pretty bummed out. This is the first... honestly, the first accessory I can think of that I've broken like that. First hand or... whatever. Okay, it's me from the future. In case you guys were worried about it, I was able to get that out of there safe with no harm done to the figure. A little bit more heat and some tweezers. Got that peg out of there. I'll see what I can do to reattach this. I doubt I'll have that finished before the end of this video, but I feel confident I can get it reattached. Enough to display it with the figure, you know, to kind of prop it up with him, put his hands on there, but not actually poured it in. So, there's good news, there's bad news. Not everything's perfect. I'm a little bummed. It's not the end of the world. For the value so far in this figure and the way he looks, I'm not holding that too much against it right now. Alright, another quick look here with Zitz. Leaping through the sky, about to knock General Slaughter out. I think he looks really cool. I'm glad to have him. Really glad to have him for the General Slaughter and just for his own right. I'm looking forward to getting Rash and some of the other figures as well. So far, I've been really impressed with these Premium DNA figures that I have, that broken peg notwithstanding. Let's take a look at Zitz here next to some other anime or game figures for scale. Now for my favorite part, the size comparisons. Here we got him next to the newer Jada Toys Ryu and Dulcim figures. I think he stacks in there nice. If you got a video game collection going, no doubt Jada's going to put out some other stuff, but it looks like he fits in there good. Another 90s video game character. Alright, some more 90s fun. Well, this is the reproduction. But Dr. Paranoid from Street Sharks and a Toy Biz, Mr. Sinister. Keep that 90s theme going. We got a Exo Squad mech and a Battletech mech. Last look with some contemporary figures. We have a Mythic Legions on the right. We have the SH Figure Arts Frieza right there in the middle, and a Star Wars Black Series Han Solo. So some final thoughts here. Overall, I really liked the figure. As I was going, I was taking a look at it with you and telling you how I felt at the time. And most of that stuff still holds true. I think he's fantastic. The sculpt work looks good. The paint apps look good. And the articulation's great. I think the accessories are cool that come with it. I'm a little bummed out, though, by the broken peg on that bulldozer blade. You know, I have a lot of figures, a lot of Mythic Legions, Savage Crucible, Axie Toys, Zesray Studios, Acid Rain, Joy Toys, I mean, all kinds of stuff. The Black Series, Legends, whatever, right? Tons and tons of figures, different lines, where I'm popping and swapping parts, heads, hands, you name it. I've had hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of figures, and I can't think of any time I've ever broken a peg on anything, except NECA, if I'm being honest. So I had a whole series of NECA Alien stuff that I went in kind of deep and fast a few years ago, and had a number of NECA broken pegs, even with heat. I was really bummed out. I had Ripley, I had that like power suit, the exoskeleton thing, and some of the alien figures themselves, some of the side characters. Man, I had a lot of broken joints on those. And I stopped buying NECA for a long time, just recently bought a couple of the D&D figures, which I like. But outside of that, never had an issue until now. So that being said, the General Slaughter, this figure here, everything else I've been really impressed with. Genuinely really like this guy. I think he looks cool, has fun accessories. I think he captures the spirit of kind of the game. You know, to me, how goofy and over the top it was. I kind of chuckled just looking at him and posing him and stuff. So, you know, for what that's worth, I think he kind of hits the mark. That being said, I always kind of weigh this stuff with what I end up paying for it, right? I know what retail is, and I know what I paid. What I paid was not retail. It was new, kind of old stock. You know, one of these things where it's a toy dealer who's selling it sealed, but it has been traded in by somebody else. So, you know, I kind of keep a lookout for that. I'll buy stuff at a discount all day if I can get it. So for what I paid, which was right around $40, I think it's a pretty good buy. I'm not disappointed at all. Well, I'm a little disappointed, but I would buy it again, even with a broken bulldozer blade at that price. That being said, I think I could fix that and kind of fix it enough to where I can pose him with it, but never to where I'm going to be able to port that back into his gauntlet there. So all in all, I'm still really happy. I like him. I'm looking forward to the other Premium DNA figures in this line, which, if you use that as a metric, I think that's a win for the figure. Well, thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed it, and have a good one.